All right, let us move ahead to another one of the big stories heading into this past Saturday's UFC Vegas 30 event. He made a lot of headlines coming in, mostly due to the belief in himself. Unfortunately, it did not go his way. He dropped a split decision to Charles Rosa after a fun 15-minute battle. So I appreciate him coming on to discuss the aftermath of it all. Justin Jaynes, kind enough to join us on What the Heck. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. Yourself?
I'm doing great. So let's start with all the attention you got heading into this fight, because you did an interview, I believe, with Overtime Heroics, and you let it be known that you were betting your purse on yourself to win this fight. Unfortunately, the fight went the way that it did. How does it all feel a couple days later?
Man, it's just another day in the office, man. You know, I was prepared, as I said, for all outcomes. Win or lose. Whether I won the bet or lost the bet. Again, I was prepared for all outcomes. Obviously, it doesn't feel good. I gamble a lot, man, but that's by far the biggest win. Just come up short in a split decision really sucks. But it is what it is. I'm a grown man, and I'll pay my debts, and on to the next, man. I still believe in myself, and I would have no problem doing it again.
How did you score the fight? I don't know if you went back and watched it after the fact, but how did you score it in your own mind?
It's just a slippery slope on it, especially scoring for MMA, because I do feel Charles had more volume, but he wasn't landing any shots. I mean, I'm not bruised up. I wasn't, it's frustrating, man, because when I landed my shots, I was cracking, and when he was landing his shots, they're like mosquito bites, man. So I thought I won the first round. He took me down with like 40 seconds left in the first round. I reversed out of it relatively quick. That kind of negates the takedown, I feel. And again, landing the stronger strikes, I thought I won the first round. Going into the second, we ended up in this awkward position where he was hammer fisting me, but again, not damaging shots. I lost the second round for sure, just because of that awkward position we were getting in. I come out slugging in the third. I knew he was hurt, and I'm getting a lot of criticism for, why did you take him down? Well, after I'm finishing with that flurry, although I am cracking and, my punches are slowing down, we've been fighting for 15 minutes. The lactic acid is filling up, in my arms, and I can feel my punches slowing down. I started hitting him in the forearms, and then we just were so close. So I took him down knowing that, or assuming after watching Bryce Mitchell, that he'd give me a side choke, and sure as shit, he gave me the side choke. And, I knew I had to finish the side choke, and I thought I had a better chance finishing the side choke than actually putting him down on the feet. So, try to use a little bit more fight IQ than I probably should have. And it is what it is, man. It's heartbreaking, but I'm not shook by it.
Hindsight obviously is a fickle beast in the entire world, and of course in the fight game. Do you regret going for the takedown? I mean, I know it happened. It is what it is. But if you could do it again, would you have kept it on the feet?
I don't really know. We can always say what we could do or what we would have done, but what if I would have finished the side choke? Then I would have been a genius. Everyone's like, oh my God, I can't believe you took him out. Oh shit, he finished side choke. It's, again, watching the Bryce Mitchell fight. Bryce had him in the side choke a whole bunch, like 5 or 6 times. I felt with him being tired, I could hear him breathing hard. I felt with him being rocked, that I was strong enough that I could, finish it. So I can't say I regret it. On the feet, it's, again, man, fatigue was setting in. My punches were slowing down. I'm not sure if I could have finished it. Maybe I could have, maybe I couldn't have. But again, it's just one of those things, the people love you if you win, they hate you if you lose. Again, if I would have finished the side choke after I took him down, I would be the smartest fighter. My fight IQ would be through the roof. Obviously, since the submission didn't go through, I'm the dumbest fighter in the UFC. So it is what it is, man. And I can't say I regret what I did, because, that was my 72nd or 73rd MMA fight. So I feel I do have a pretty high fight IQ. It was just happened to be in the circumstance of, after I threw that right hand, my shoulder was so close to him. It was just almost reaction just to grab onto him. And then when I took it, he went down so easy again because he was rocked. And again, I thought I could find the submission and get the dramatic win, but it is what it is, man. I don't have regrets in the bet that I placed. I don't have regrets in the decisions I've made. And, hopefully that, me believing in myself inspired someone else to believe in their self. And at the end of the day, that's what I'm going to chalk it up to. It's money comes and goes, but belief in yourself needs to be permanent.
Was it? Do you think the choke was close? Did you feel like he was fading and it was just a matter of time?
Yeah, well, it was very, very tight choke. I was listening to his breathing. Charles is a black belt in jiu-jitsu. It's not the first time he's been in that bad position. You know, he was talking on the phone. He had his hand up, you know, and I was ready for that. But again, you know, I thought I was strong enough to, you know, with that amount of time left in that circumstance to be able to finish. I was listening to his breathing. You know, he was having a hard time. He was having labored breathing. And unfortunately, you know, just didn't work out for me, man.
What was the conversation like between the second and third rounds? Because you came out guns blazing. It was almost like you knew you needed to get the finish, like you sort of alluded to earlier. But what were your coaches saying to you before you went out for the third?
That I needed to finish. That's all I remember him telling me. And I'm always looking for the finish. I don't coast to the finish line. Even if I had won the first round, the second round, I still probably would have done the same thing in the third. Again, I'm not fighting. I don't want to fight for boring fights. I want you know, drag them in, throw them out, bang them up fights. You know, I mean, I probably could take some guys down and land them for 15 minutes and grind out these decisions, but you know, unfortunately, my ego gets the better of me, and you know, I want exciting fights, and I want people to be excited to see me fight, and to watch guys just be taken down and lay down is very boring. And you know, I told myself before this fight that I was going to make it a boring fight, but once I got in there, I got all the adrenaline, and I threw that game plan right out the window. And if I had any regret, I'm not going to say I regret doing that, but I guess I could have been a little smarter about it. Try to make it a more boring fight, more care about the win than the excitement. But it is what it is, man. Fighting, I fight for fun. The money's great, but you know, it's. I wanted it to be exciting, and hopefully, it was exciting.
Yeah, I mean, the storyline heading in with the bet made it even more exciting. It was one of the biggest talking points of the entire card. Did you think that this would become such a big story heading into the fight?
No, and that's the crazy part, because people keep saying, "Oh, you're this is a publicity stunt." Listen, I don't care if you believe me. I don't care if you don't believe me. My family knows that. Right? I fucking lost. Like, don't you think, like, if this was a publicity stunt, I would have been raving about this weeks prior? You know, there was no mention of it. I only mentioned it to the one podcast, Overtime Heroics. You know, that, and I believe that might have been the only person I mentioned it to. Then ESPN picked it up, and it went big. If this was a publicity stunt, I would have been going crazy about it the whole time. Like I said, again, I only mentioned it a couple times, and I barely touched on it when I did. I had no idea it was going to get this kind of hype. You know, it's one of those things that it all started with a teammate of mine, you know, last year or the year before, told me, he goes, "I'm going to bet my whole purse on myself." And I was like, holy shit, that's gangster. Like that's a gangster move. And then he didn't do it. And I was like, well, I got that fucking, like, I was like, oh, wow, that's dumb. And then, you know, I was talking to, you know, Eric Nixick at the gym, and I told him I'm going to do it. And he's like, dude, that's fucking awesome. And, you know, when I say I'm going to do something, I do it. Obviously, I could have backed out. You know, I could have backed out, you know, the week of, because, you know, I did all my bets through credit. And, you know, unfortunately, you know, now my paycheck's gone. But I had no idea I was going to get any publicity with this. I had no idea that it was going to, you know, get this big. But it is what it is, man. And haters are going to say it's fake. And it is what it is, man. I look at my bank account this morning, and I know it's not there.
What was the actual number?
It was right below. It was like right around 20,000. It wasn't 25,000. What I said in overtime is it's going to be. I was going to pay my show money, and he said, "What is that around?" I said, "It's around 25,000." Well, I still have to pay my manager, and I still and although my coaches did say that will ride or die with me, it's, you know, I'm going to pay them too.
All right, well, that's good. The reaction to this fight, you know, the bet on yourself, it's one of those moments in our sport, especially in the aftermath, that kind of sucks, because it was such a gangster move, as you said, but it's brought out sort of the worst in some of the fans of the sport. And even some of your fellow fighters decided to, you know, sort of pour salt on the wound, so to speak. Like, what have you made about how people have chosen to react to your situation?
You know, it's just one of those. I really just don't care. You know, it's not their money. It's my money. I can bet on whatever I want to bet on, man. And, you know, I love betting MMA. And every week, every time there's a UFC show, I bet almost every single fight, even if I don't know the guy, just for fun. And you know what? I thought to myself, it's like, dude, who better to bet on than a guy I personally know, and more than personally know, you know, and somebody that I believe in more than anybody. And when you know, when I'm digging through the trenches in the middle of a fight, when I'm tired, you know, this is what was going through my head. You know, there's plenty of times where I was tired or sore in training, and it's like, oh, I'm going to take the day off. It's like, oh, hell no, you're not. You got a lot of money on this fight. This is at least shit, it's definitely the biggest bet I've ever made. Maybe 2 or 3 times the biggest bet I've ever made. So you know what? I don't know why people are so upset about this. People are saying, "Oh, you scammed me. You got me to believe in you. You got me to put all my money on you." You know, here, that's a you problem. You know, I have my own problems. I just lost a fight. I lost my purse. You know, you don't hear me going after people and blaming other people for my decisions. You know, and I think that's very immature. Whether it's a fighter, whether it's a fan, you know, let me do what I want. And if you want to follow, that's on you, and that's not my problem.
So people, you made this massive bet on yourself. You bet your show money essentially outside of what you had to pay your managers and your coaches, and people are actually blaming you for this.
Oh, yeah,
like
it's
because
insane.
they bet on your belief. That's insane.
Yeah, this one guy hits me up. And he tells me that it was he's like, "You're running a scam. You scammed all these people to bet on you. Be like, by saying that you believe in yourself so much, you know, you're giving a false sense of confidence in these bettors, and you scammed them." I'm like, motherfucker, like, how did I scam you? Like, I don't get anything for you losing money. What the hell are you talking about, man? I lost. And you know what the worst part is? It's like these guys probably put me in like a $20 parlay or a $50 parlay or bet $100 on me. Like, I just bet my income for the next 5 months, you know what I mean? Or 4 months, or, you know, until I fight again. You know, it's like, man, get the fuck out of here, man. I don't have time for that shit. And you know what? My favorite is, you owe me. Run collect 4055 West Sunset there Monday through Friday. Whatever you think I owe you, come get it.
Wow, that's hilarious. How many DMs did you think you've gotten? Like, have you gotten hundreds? Thousands?
Maybe 1,500.
Oh
I mean,
God.
they're not all bad. They're not all bad. I'd say it's probably 30% of them are bad, you know, and then the other, and I get a lot of praise. There's a lot of people that, you know, like, "Hey man, that's a gangster move," you know, and some of them are like, "Hey, I bet on you and I'll bet on you again," you know, for someone that believes in themselves that much. And, you know, I put it all on the line. I never folded at any time of the fight. You know, I was always trying to knock them out. I was always looking for the finish. You know, when people take guys down, like I've seen guys get rocked and they take them down, they just hold them. I took him down with the intent to finish. I took him down with the intent to submit him. And, you know, that's that. I was still looking to finish the fight. There's no doubt about that. But unfortunately, you know, Charles has great grappling defense, and I fell short. So, you know, these people are just delusional. I can't even imagine blaming somebody else. Like, I'm a grown man. I can't imagine blaming another grown man for my decisions. It's embarrassing, and all these messages are so embarrassing. And I just sit, and at first I was upset, and now I just laugh. And it's like, man, these people are so pathetic that they're blaming a fighter that risked everything. You know, I lost $100. Listen, I don't know where my career is going to be next month. I don't collect a paycheck this month. Like, these people don't even understand how much I've risked to do what I do, or to get where I'm at. You know, my whole life has been all in situation. I come from a little town called Richmond, Michigan. I graduated with 100 people. You know, when I graduated college at Olivet College, you know, I was faced with a decision. You know, do I want to become an MMA fighter? If I want to become an MMA fighter, I have to go all in. You know, there's no stops. I'm not going to work a 9 to 5 and try and train in the evening, try and compete with the best fighters in the world. I sold my soul to the devil. I moved to Michigan. I moved away from my family. I moved away from my son for the last 10 years. I missed 10 years of him growing up so I could pursue this dream to get to the UFC. And all these people want to share me, you know, F all those guys, man. I'm an all-in kind of guy. When I say I'm going to do something, I don't half-ass it. I go all in. And, you know, this kind of was the last statement. This kind of like was my thing from the beginning of my career, whether it was financial, whether it was, you know, again, I moved from Richmond, Michigan, all the way to Las Vegas, Nevada to train to get to the UFC. And I got there, and, you know, I wanted to go one more time all in. And, you know, I just fell short this time. So it is what it is.
You're kind of in an interesting spot right now because of this whole thing. I mean, losing 4 straight, but like you said, you've been a go-to guy for the company. You've taken fights on short notice. You always go out there and you look to finish. Your battles are never boring, but you're in an interesting spot right now. Like, what do you think happens? Like, do you think you're going to get another shot? Like, has there been any indication to this point as to what will happen next?
Yeah, I have no idea, man. I'm just going to play this day by day. Unfortunately, all my fights prior to this one have all been short notice, man, and it really sucks. So I was really looking at this as my real UFC debut. In shape as you saw at weigh-ins, I was in phenomenal shape. A stronger, Matt Crawley, my strength conditioning coach over at the PI, he's been putting in overtime with me. All my coaches at Extreme Couture, putting in the extra road work. That was the real debut of the Guitar Hero, man. The 4 fights prior to that were me rolling off the couch and, giving it and fighting on all heart. How can I fight Devontae Smith, who has a 12-inch reach advantage on me on 3-day notice? I have to wrestle him. If I was to fight Devontae Smith again, I would have a game plan to take him down, pin him up against the fence and wrestle him. But when you're rolling off the couch, you don't have the cardio to do that. So now I have to strike with a striker that has a 12-inch reach advantage on me. And you know what? Fuck it. I want it in there. And I threw my hands again. I hurt him in the first round. Unfortunately, I couldn't follow up. I couldn't get through his reach. Again, preparing for these fighters on short notice is tough. So, again, back to it is what it is, man. These were all great opportunities. I'm very grateful for all my short notice opportunities. But June 26th was the UFC debut of the Guitar Hero, man, and hopefully I get another shot. I don't have any expectation if I do or if I don't. I'll prepare for whatever happens. As I said before the fight, I was prepared for all outcomes. If that means my contract's over, or if I get cut, it is what it is, man. It's a bummer, but you know what? I don't cry. I don't sulk. I'm not crying over this money. I'm not going to cry over the contract. I'm going to go home. I'm going to get back in the gym. I'm going to do what I have to do to get my contract back, and you'll see the Guitar Hero back in the cage. Hopefully sooner than later, but if it's later than sooner, it is what it is, man. I'm here for the long run. Again, I sold my soul to the devil. I'll never get the 10 years back of my son growing up. But with that being said, he's with me right now, and he's getting to see me go through all this adversity, and he's going to see me overcome all the adversity and prevail in the end. And that's what it's all about to me, man, it's just, perseverance and mental toughness. And 20K again, losing, 20, whatever it was like a little bit over or right around there, and whatever it was, again, that sucks. But at the end of the day, if I inspired some kids to go to wrestling practice one more day a week, or, inspired some kids to really hold on to a dream and really sell out and really believe in themselves in the long run, that's kind of how I'm chalking it up right now, man. And hopefully, again, I inspired somebody, whether it's a teenager, whether it's you, whether it's anybody, and they do better with their life, and I can be okay with that.
I saw a picture from your Instagram probably like 3 months ago. Speaking about your son, he's gotten himself into wrestling. I saw that you surprised him. You flew back to Michigan to watch his first wrestling match. Like what was that like for you to see him get on the mats and kind of pursue this avenue?
It was very surreal. He didn't expect that I was going to be able to make it. Living in Vegas, I found out about his wrestling matches like on Wednesday. I found out about it on Monday. First thing, booked to Spirit, $600 plane ticket. And you know what? They're like, oh no, just go to this next one. He'll have one in 2 or 3 more weeks. And I was like, nah, I want to be at his first one, because, it took me a long time to get him in wanting to do wrestling. He didn't like it at first. It's a tough sport. And I don't care if, he becomes a fighter or not. I just want him to have that wrestling grit, that wrestling mentality of never give up and never surrender kind of thing. And, whatever he decides to do, whether he wants to be a doctor, whether he wants to be a fighter, whether he wants to be a ballet dancer, I just want him to be the best one there is. And, that's kind of the demonstration I'm trying to lay here is, I'm not saying I'm the best fighter in the world, but I'm going to take the ability that I have and the strength that I have and the mental toughness that I have and see how far I can go and hit the ceiling as far as I can go, whether that means I'm the UFC champion or whether it means that, I just have a career in the UFC. I want to take my abilities and push them, and I want him to do the same with whatever he decides to do. Whether, again, if it's school, he wants to be a doctor. All right, well, he better be the best damn doctor in the world. He wants to be a surgeon. He wants to be a pianist. Whatever he wants to do, I just want him to be the best at whatever he does. And that's kind of the MO that I'm trying to leave behind for me and him.
How did he react to Saturday and the bed and all that stuff?
It's actually kind of funny because I when I lost in a couple fights, he was pretty emotional about it and pretty upset. And after this one, he came over and gave me a hug, and he said I thought that you won the fight, Dad, and told him how upset I was. And He goes, I thought you won the fight. I thought you hurt him more than he hurt you, and it's a fact. But at the end of the day, the only people that matter who thought you won are the judges, man. And I'm always looking for the finish. And the whole fight, I was looking to finish. Hold on 1 second.
Sure.
5 minutes. Hold on. Thank you. Sorry, I'm in a
It's
hotel.
okay.
I'm in a hotel with my kid right now in housekeeping. Just knocked on our door. I know. So, but what was the question? I'm sorry, I lost track for a second.
No, just his reaction to the loss. He felt like he won.
Yeah, he felt that I won, and I'm very grateful that he felt that way. And it's I'm biased, man, and it just is what it is, man. It's a lot of people thought I won, and I'm sorry, a lot of people thought I won, but the only people that the judges didn't. So I am judging is a tough job, but and I typically don't complain about judging ever because I'm not a judge. But 30-27, really?
I was just gonna ask you about that.
Really? Like I was disgusted. Okay, 29-28. I don't agree with it, but I understand. I can see an argument being made. No, 30-27. What are you watching? You watching another fight on your phone? I was very disgusted. And these judges need to be held accountable. Again, I'm not saying that this should be overturned and this was blatantly a win. That's not what I'm saying. But it definitely wasn't 30-27. And it's disgusting that a judge would even score it like that. But it is what it is, man. And at the end of the day, I can sit here and cry to you, and I can cry to everybody about it. I don't get my money back, and I don't get the win I don't get in the win column, so it doesn't matter.
You've had 5 fights in the UFC in just over a year. I mean, the short notice debut was an amazing moment for you, but I think the theme of this conversation in the last 48 hours or so of your life is just living your life with no regrets, like going all in, and it is what it is. How freeing is that, being able to live life that way?
Oh, I mean, freeing is a interesting word to use it. I understand how you're trying to use it, but I won't get into too much detail, but when I graduated college, my uncle owns a engineering company in Michigan, and he offered me a job, and I would make a great amount of money, probably make 6 figures a year and have a pension and see my kids and see my family all the time, but that's just living, the average life. Anybody can do that, man. I want to go above and beyond. So this whole free thing, it's a very stressful lifestyle. But when you knock Frank Camacho out in 40 seconds, those moments make it so worthwhile, man. And this, like I said, losing this money really hurts and it really sucks. And, I'm going to have to, dig deep and figure it out. But, life, I like my life like a puzzle, man. I'm always trying to figure it out. I'm always trying to figure out my next move. And as of right now, I don't know what my next move is. But over the next week or so, I'll come up with something, and I'll figure it out, man. I like it because, again, like you're absolutely right. It's a free lifestyle. I do what I want when I want. But in circumstances like this, when you come up short, the highest highs and the lowest lows, it's like when I fought Frank Camacho, it's like I'm going in there and I'm swinging as hard as I can. And, maybe I get knocked out. Frank's a great fighter. Maybe I don't. And, fortunately, that was the highest high, and this is one of the lower lows. But again, I pay my debts. I knew what I was getting into. I was prepared for all outcomes. I was prepared to lose. I was prepared to win. And here we are lost. It's stressful. I don't know as of right this second, what's going to happen over the next couple of days, but it all works out, man. I always figure it out. And I always persevere no matter how tough it gets. And, I do it myself, man. And again, it's just going back, and I want kids to see, like the perseverance that I'm going to put myself through and maybe motivate them. And my son, like I said, he gets to be a part of all of it and see it all. So, in 10 years, if he, in whatever field he decides to go in, he's going to remember the day that dad lost all the money he had and figures it out. He's like, he's going to go, lose $100 playing blackjack one day. And he's going to be like, oh, I'm sorry. Like, oh, there was that one day my dad lost everything he had. And, and he persevered through it. And I'm going to get through this just fine. And like I've said in all my interviews, I'm not shook by this. And it's just another drop in the bucket, man. I'll figure it out. And again, perseverance is my friend. So let's go.
Yeah, I meant more from like a mental clarity standpoint, because most other people, like you said, like if they're in that situation, you got fans hitting you up because you lost them $100. You know, a lot of people, they're probably taking this worse than you are right now, but like just having that mental clarity of knowing like I knew it, I was ready for all outcomes. That's got to be a little like a little less weight upon you, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And it's funny because I talked to my coach, Roman Isbell, you know, before we walked out, and I just felt so good. And I told him, I said, hey man, I have no regrets of what happens in this fight. If I lose my money and I lose this fight, you know, and he's encouraging me, of course. Oh, you're not going to lose. Oh, I'm like, Roman, I've done everything perfect. My diet has been perfect. My training has been perfect. I've been injury free. We have a great game plan. You know, sometimes I just get a little more stubborn in that stand and bang kind of mentality instead of imposing my will and taking them down like we wanted to a little bit. But again, at the end of the day, I did what I wanted. I came up short. And I'll continue to do what I want. And like I said, maybe next time if me and Charles run it back again, and maybe that'll happen. Maybe the UFC will be like, all right, hey, look, that was a close fight. Charles roasted Justin Jaynes too. Let's run it back. And you know what? I'm not opposed to doing it again and showing people that I am the real deal. And, you know, I put my money where my mouth is. You know, all these people talk about, oh, I'll whip this guy's ass. I'll whip that guy's ass. I'm going to win this fight. You know, Charles before the fight, oh, I'm going to knock him out in the first round. Like, motherfucker. For one, I've never been knocked out. And for two, you know, the closest I've been was Gavin Tucker. And for two, I don't think Charles has ever knocked anybody out. So it didn't make any sense. And, you know, if you, and you know, he made a meme, you know, and it was very playful, of course. There's no animosity towards it, but he made a meme. Oh, you made the wrong bet. He did like a Jean-Claude Van Damme thing. And it was like, all right, hey, no problem. If you believe in yourself that much, put your money on yourself, Playboy. I'll put mine on myself. You put your on yourself. And let's see who believes in himself more. And you know what? I heard fucking crickets. So it is what it is, man. Nothing but respect for Charles. I'm glad he was a good competitor, very tough guy, very nice guy. But don't come at me telling me that what I've done is wrong when you don't have the guts to do it yourself.
Well said, Justin. Appreciate the time, man. I know you're hanging out with your son. You got housekeeping banging on the door, and I'll let you get back to that, man. But I know there's many other things you'd probably rather be talking about, but it means a lot you come on here and share your story. But all the best to you with whatever is next, man. And again, I really appreciate you giving us so much time today.
No problem, man. You have a good day. I appreciate you guys.